Barwa,
Yes, sir.
Vishakha Sen, Dr. Supreet Kaur, Dr. Malini L, and Supreet Kaur. So these are the 10 members who are going to present their papers. As I mentioned that try to present your papers in 5 minutes so that we can have 2 minutes of discussion, at least 1 or 2 questions we can take. And if time permits, we will discuss in detail at the end of the session. So now I request the first paper presenter, that is Chaudhary Jayashri Gulabbai. Yes, you can continue.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, please. You
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, I know a little English, but I present my paper.
Okay, madam. Okay.
It is a great honor for sir. It is a great honor for me to be involved in the international seminar. I would like to thank VC sir of your university and your team for organizing this seminar. I thank you for giving.
You directly start your presentation, ma'am. Directly you start your presentation, please. Okay.
Participating friend to opportunity to present their paper, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, madam. Okay. So I request all the participants. Yes, you just present your title of the paper, then brief description of your paper, and conclude it within that stipulated time. So next, I would like to request Dr. Parashurama D to present his paper. Dr. Parashuram. Can you hear Dr. Parashuram?
Hello.
Dr. Parashuram, please, you carry on.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
We can hear you, yes.
So my voice is audible?
Yeah, it is audible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So very good afternoon. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very good afternoon, sir. This is Dr. Parashuram, Principal JSS B.Ed College, Dharwad. Okay, first of all, I'm extend my thanks to university and also Jagannath Dange sir for giving an opportunity to present the paper of technology-based constructivist teaching. Actually, this research work is out of my PhD work. A small portion of PhD work I converted into a research paper. As we all know, the two factors which are revolving around the education, one is technology and second one is constructivism. Constructivism focuses more on the construction of a knowledge rather than receiving a passive information from the student. In this way, the knowledge is treated as a building blocking the process. In the same way, we are having another important component called technology. Even it is also significantly influencing on the education field. Focuses more on how technology is going to creating an environment for and integrate both technology and constructivist in my study. And also I took a topic called effectiveness of CT and TBCT on academic achievement of a students of 9th standard students of Bangalore SET. CT means constructivist teaching, TBCT means technology based constructivist teaching. In this presentation, I have considered data related to technology-based constructivist teaching. The main objective of this paper is to analyze the student opinion on effectiveness of technology-based constructivist teaching. There are 4 hypotheses are framed. First one is there is no significant difference in the mean scores of government and private school students' opinion on effectiveness of TBCT. Second one, there is no significant differences in mean scores of boys and girls opinion on effectiveness of TBCT. Third one is there is no significant differences in mean scores of boys and girls government school students opinion on effectiveness of TBCT. And similarly, the fourth one is it is going to identifying the difference between the boys and girls with respect to a private school. The methodology I used opinion study based on two equivalent group design. I decided to collect the opinion of a student related to effectiveness of CT and TBCT. In order to, I applied the TPAC methodology, that is techno-pedagogical content knowledge. I've included the content component and also technology component and also pedagogical component. In pedagogical component, there are 5 important factors are identified: 5E learning model, Jigsaw, scaffolding, JETPD, and also constructivist assessment strategy. In order to bring effectiveness of technology components, I used PPT as a major component. Along with that, I have included video, audio, visual, hyperlinks, animation, and also graphic organizers for designing a technology-based constructivist teaching. The sample of the study consists of 77 students. Out of 77 students, 40 students are from government schools and remaining 37 students are from a private school. In order to assess the effectiveness of technology-based constructivist teaching, I developed a TBCT rating scale. It is consists of 20 statement, and also there are 4 dimensions are exist. First one is effectiveness of technology-based constructivist teaching. Second one is effectiveness of constructivist Jigsaw environment, and fourth one is effective technology-based constructivist teaching evaluation. Statistical analysis. For this research, I used inferential and also graphical analysis. Especially for inferential, I used a t-test, and also these are all the findings of my study. I found that there is a significant differences in the opinion of students with respect to effectiveness of technology-based constructivist teaching among government and also private school students. And related to second hypothesis, I found that there is no significant differences in the opinion of boys and girls with respect to effectiveness of technology-based constructivist teaching. Related to third hypothesis, I found that difference is not exist with respect to boys and girls of government school, whereas in case of private school, I found that there is a difference is exist between the opinion on the effectiveness of technology-based constructivist teaching among boys and girls of a private school. From this study, I found that actually the study is an outcome of 2 equivalent group design. And also in 2 equivalent group design, I have used CT and also TBCT module, and also I have found the effectiveness of both the modules on achievement. And also even the present paper is an extension, and also based on the rating scale, I find out the differences in the opinion of a secondary school student. With the help of this study, I concluded that definitely technology-based constructivist teaching is highly useful approach for a secondary school student, particularly for teaching social science subject and also even different school subjects of 9th standard. And also even there is a huge difference is going to be observed with mean scores of private and also government school, especially technology-based constructivist teaching. There's no significant gender difference. It means gender is not influenced on the opinion of technology-based private school. There is an influence of gender on opinion on effectiveness of technology-based constructivist teaching. Overall, I found that technology is a highly useful method. Definitely, when we are going to use techno-pedagogical model, with the help of that, if you are going to integrating the school Jigsaw, 5E instructional model, JETPD, zone of proximal development, constructivist evaluation tool, along with that, if you are going to integrating the technology component, definitely and also moreover they are going to get lots of benefit in a teaching and learning environment, and it is going to initiating the student autonomy in a learning process.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Parasuram, quite nicely and quite crisply you have presented your paper. And yes. Shall we take few questions on that if anybody is ready to ask anything?
Sir, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, how are you, sir?
Yeah,
can you remember me, sir?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hello.
Sure.
So yes, I am from
Yes.
CMR, sir. Previously, I
Yes,
worked
yes,
for
I know,
CMR along
I
with
know.
Praveen, sir.
Yes, I know. Hope you're doing good. And
Praveen,
your,
sir, and Shashi Kumar. Shashi Kumar.
yes, your
Yes.
presentation
How
is
are you,
also
sir? Yes, sir.
fine,
Yes, sir.
fine.
Yes,
Your presentation is also quite nice. And
Yes, sir. Please.
based on the empirical research findings, if I presented your
Yes, sir.
findings
Hello.
for the research views. Yeah, any one question
Hello,
we can take. Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
Hello,
sir.
sir. I have one small
Please,
question.
please, sir, please.
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
So, what is the impact?
Yes.
Yeah, I am Dr. Lahori from Baramati. What is the financial impact of
Yes,
the
sir.
technology on the student?
So, can you repeat it once again, sir? What, sir?
What is
Pardon,
the
please
what
repeat
is
it,
the
sir.
financial impact? What is the financial impact
Okay, sir.
on the student because of technology?
Sir, in case of my research, I found
is it
that
going to be
it's
very expensive?
completely No, sir, it is not going to become expensive because I took sample from the government school, and also even the students, those who are studying in state board, I took, and also even all the 32 modules are developed by me. I usually all the modules are developed with the help of PPT. With the help of PPT, I've included many constructivist components like animation is a component, and also even simulation is a component, video is a component. There are lots of studies
Yes,
are
yes,
also
yes, yes. Yes,
happened
sir.
in throughout the globe. What I made is with yes, sir. It is not going to become
Yes, sir.
expensive,
My
sir.
question
Definitely,
is,
100% it is not going to become
yeah,
expensive.
okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
The next participant is Sandeep Patil.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Parsuram. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you
Okay.
very much, sir.
Sandeep Patil, can you hear me?
Hello, Dr. Dange. Yes,
yeah.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Please
Yes,
continue.
sir. I can easily hear you. Dr. Dange, it's my personal request that please allow the share screen for me so that I can present my content, sir.
Okay, fine.
Respected Dr. Dange, whom we reckon as an inspiration for the Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Respected Dr. Dange, whom we consider as a role model for the youth in this academia of teacher education, in particular, along with respected participants from all corners of the country. I am Sandeep Patil, presenting our paper on behalf of myself, my colleague, my friend Shreyasi Das, and my guru, Professor Dr. Chandrakant Bhaviskar. The title of our theoretical paper is E-Pedagogy in Lockdown Times, Positives and Way to Move Ahead. This paper is the reflection of mine and my fellow authors of this paper regarding the present movement of online education that is happening across the country, the positives out of it, and what should be the proper way in which we can inculcate or integrate this technology in the post-lockdown period. Okay, we are all aware of this COVID-19 pandemic, and in fact, we are all experiencing the threats of it. We are in the third phase of nationwide lockdown. Since 24th March, we are caged in our own homes, which we have never thought of. Social distancing is the way of life that has to be adopted, and we are almost all of the Indians are adopting it very seriously. There is so much of tension and anxiety across all the masses throughout the world. Not a single country or community has left behind from this serious issue. That has been the most disastrous thing that could have happened to humanity after post World War II. So the question is how to do it, flight or fight. So I think all academicians are fighting here, and we have to do it very cumulatively. From the pre-lockdown era, where the primary method of curricular transaction was chalkboard method, we are absolutely in the era of online interactions. So education during lockdown is of virtual mode, which is really appreciating thing that could have happened to Indian education, and that too in a very short period of time. See, there are various initiatives taken by Government of India during these periods. I don't want to mention each and everything because my time is limited, but I think there are various workshops, webinars, not only from the side of PMMTT, but also from various institutes across the country, not only across the country, from the all corners of the world, which are freely available to all of us. So these are the mediums through which we are doing it. May it be virtual synchronous mode through various video conferencing platforms, or may it be through Edmodo Classroom, Google Classroom, or you can say Moodle sort of asynchronous mode. These are happening from every part of the country.
Not Facebook.
What is the real major substantial change that we are experiencing? That our teacher community, may it be primary education teacher community or higher education teacher community, they are all taking a giant leap as far as their professional development is concerned. Majority of the teachers are participating in various workshops and seminars, and that too has taken them from the PPT sort of ICT involvement towards the integration of technology in a huge way and in a very substantial manner. So there are some limitations as far as we consider our country's scenario. There are restrictions to human interactions as far as our country is concerned, because we are having serious scarcity of technology support as well as the infrastructure and all the other things. But there are serious issues that could have been that could happen in the future if we try to integrate this sort of technology in our future curricular transaction, which we have to do it after the post-lockdown era. These are some of the issues that need to be addressed. More important, the cost of education along with the economic crisis that has to be there, and the availability of the e-resources in vernacular languages. Because we can see majority of our states carry on their education through the vernacular languages, or you can say regional languages. So the e-content development in regional languages has to be promoted more of a primary thing in the coming times. So what could be done to integrate it? So I think we as academicians, more particularly the people from teacher education community who work upon the instructional designing and pedagogical developments, should work for a blended model of technology integration in India, particularly where is a drift, or you can say a totally contrasting scenario of some sort of metropolitan education system compared to a very rural sort of education system with scarcity of technology and infrastructure. So a blended model of technology integration has to be worked upon by the academicians. That is my urge to us, all of us, and government should seriously consider this technology integration in the coming times. It should not be get restricted towards only the lockdown period, but it should get integrated, get adopted to our regular conventional mode. That is what I urge to the teacher education community. So I think it is a time to rethink of our education system, our educational curricular transaction, and I think we should do it. Thank you very much. I had a very short period of time. That is why I could have easily elaborated my thoughts, because I wanted to say so much for it, and I think we all are eager to share their thoughts on this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sandeep ji. Your presentation is quite crisp and quite nicely presented your views, what's happening
Thank you, sir.
through this COVID-19, and how best we have to think at this juncture to make the changes in our education system. And please make me as a host. I made you as a host to share.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You make me as a host. And another thing, try to use the slides. You have shared it from Facebook, it seems.
Pardon, sir? Pardon?
Have you shared it through the Facebook or what? This PPT
No,
presentation.
sir. I had shared it.
PPT only.
Presentation.
Okay,
I was
fine.
presenting.
Fine. Okay, fine.
One sec. I need to share.
Okay.
One sec. I should stop sharing.
Yeah.
I had stopped my sharing, sir. Have you got it? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
Okay.
Ketan ji, are you ready?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You'll have
Please.
to make me host again. Yeah, please.
Carry on, please, because 8 minutes left for you. Is it okay?
Yeah. I'll finish in 5 minutes. Sir.
Okay, then after completion you should make me as host. Okay. Huh.
Yeah, so
Yes.
then you can host it again.
Yes, yes, yes. Please carry on.
Okay. Good afternoon, Dangeji, Dr. Dange and delegates. From last few days, there have been a lot of deliberations on e-pedagogy, e-teaching, e-learning, and there is one concern, that is e-pedagogy, e-teaching restricted to a content delivery, or can we think about beyond just content delivery and examination? So one of the major concern in many of the deliberations which was expressed is e-mentoring possible? So when we talk about e-mentoring, it is same type of relationship and the same type of dialogue which happens between the mentor and mentee. Instead of having face-to-face or personally, it goes online. Now the whole article talks about that e-mentoring being one of the mentoring, can it be blended with other types of mentoring? So if you look at the classifications of the mentoring, there are several classifications like peer-to-peer mentoring, reverse mentoring, and other mentoring. So what I have done is I have taken up 6 types of mentoring, and I have just suggested how you can blend your e-mentoring with the different types of mentoring. So if you take one-to-one mentoring, this is used for skill building, which is generally face-to-face. It can be done through face-to-face by using video conferencing. Rather, if you do an e-mentoring, it has an additional advantage that whatever has been the interaction between the mentor and the mentee, and whatever has been the progress can be easily tracked by using a recording mode, which personally may be difficult or may not be possible. So second is situational mentoring. Here you can think about something beyond, where mentor and mentee can come together online on online platforms and can use simulations. And through simulations, definitely they can help, they can do a situational analysis, and a specific skill which is required can be developed. Career mentoring, I have suggested a multi approach. What can be done is initially virtually mentor and mentee come together where mentor understands the interest of the mentee. Later online aptitude test or some performance tracking should be done. And later mentor will do presentation to the mentee, making him or her understand what are his or her strengths and weaknesses. And finally, it will be useful for a mentee to select or take a decision on the career. Reverse mentoring, this is very important. I share just one of the experience that one 70 years old faculty was mentored by one student on how to use these e-platforms in COVID times. So reverse mentoring is must, where seniors can be mentored on using e-platforms. Group mentoring, again, there is no restrictions. You can use the platforms where number of people based on their interest can be brought together, and it can be steered by a mentor. Peer-to-peer mentoring, now see the biggest advantage of peer-to-peer mentoring, because e-mentoring has an advantage of no geographical boundaries or time zone boundaries. A peer-to-peer mentoring can be done not only between the peers or the students of the same universities or the universities within the country, you can think about beyond the country also. So when we talk about e-mentoring, one of the biggest apprehension which people have, that will it be effective? Now let us take an example of millennials and post-millennials. They are very comfortable with technology. And believe it or not, millennials and post-millennials, they don't feel any difference between the e-connect and the personal connect. So it is very clear when we are talking about education moving to 4.0, we can use artificial intelligence and we can make our e-mentoring more effective. So I will just have few recommendations that institutes should promote e-mentoring, whether it is COVID or no COVID. Initially, to start with, reverse mentoring should be given a full, should be speeded up, so the people, those who have some apprehensions about using technology, can be mentored by the students or the junior faculties. E-mentoring should be used for all mentioned mentoring, as mentioned in my presentation. There's enough scope for developing a customized software for mentoring. As I mentioned, that e-mode simulation can be done online, all can be clubbed together and can be put under one roof. Collaborations will be promoted cross-border universities. And one major thing is the willingness of Gen Y and Gen Z to accept e-mentoring is must. Thank you so much, sir. Using vernacular, so just I wanted to share that SWAYAM has started with inviting faculty to develop the content in vernacular language, and they're coming up with 6 languages further. So if people are interested, they can definitely enroll themselves with Swayam to develop vernacular content, sir?
Yes, Ketanji. Yes, sir, I know it. And actually, these efforts are very welcome one. Actually, this will promote a lot many things to be done in the e-content development of vernacular language.
Yes, yes.
Right.
Yes, yes. So it is a very welcome decision from the MHRD part of from the part of MHRD.
Yes, sir.
But we have to do so many things in this perspective, sir.
Yes.
It is not
Surely,
enough.
surely.
Yeah, yeah, yes, sir, yes.
Okay, sorry for interruption. That was the really bottleneck for all the vernacular language people all these years, and really great boon for all of us to do that. Surely we will do. Just 1 minute left, and I hope the next participant is ready. That is Dr. Lahori.
Yes,
Sir?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, you please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please sign in again, and we will start the proceedings.
Thank you. Thank you, Dange, sir. Thank you
Yes,
so much.
thank you, thank you. Nice presentation.
Child also is a big problem in this digital environment. Because in Indian scenario, child is known as a gift of God. Child is known as an avatar from the God. But later on, if you are not able to grow properly, the same child is a liability on the family rather than a social asset. So in this connection, in this digital environment, I had developed a paper. So how to groom a child in this digital environment of the family. To start with, in my study, I have made the family in 3 classifications. Family number 1, where they are in the poverty line, right from morning and evening, they are after their livelihood. Second family is the middle class, where husband and wife both are working in the offices or in the factories, etc. And third family is the rich family. If you take all 3 families, they are not able to give time to their child. Number 1, in first family, entire energy time they are investing in earning their livelihood. In second category, that is middle class, they are spending time with their office. And third, in rich class, they are giving their child to the servant maid or the crush. Now, the total outcome of this, there is no time is given to the child for the groom. Either it is given to the servant maid or to the elderly people in the family. Now, coming to the point, as a parent, they are supposed to invest their time, their money, and their energy with the child. Then only they can give proper grooming to the child. That is number 1 point. And number 2 point, in my study, I have made 3 stages of child. First stage is from 0 to 7, where we can call it as an engagement stage, where child is able to learn faster by observation, by copying, and by imitating. In this, in the elderly people at home, especially parents, relatives, and whatnot, how best they are going to use the digital environment, that impact will be there on the baby. That is important role is the mother's role in the stage number 1. And stage number 2, that is from 8 to 14, where we can call it as an exposure stage, where the baby can go out, the child can go out for schooling, for market, to relatives' house, etc., etc., where he can accept a lot of things from the other things, and he can say good or bad. In this environment also, the digital plays very important role. Now coming to the point, again the parent has an important role to control, to suggest, and take it very lovable way, and take it very humble way to address that. And the third stage, that is 8, that is from 14 to 21, that is called exploration stage, wherein, that is very important stage. This stage, if you are not able to handle it properly, certainly the child may go out of order. I mean, they are not under our control. What I'm trying to say, in these 3 stages, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, the investment of parents, time, money, and energy plays very significant role. If you are not able to do that in this digital environment, certainly everything we are keeping the distance. You know what is basic thing in the digital environment? We are keeping distance and we are trying to integrating the things. But in the family, it is very difficult. In the family, it is very difficult to keep distance and integrate, because we have to have it hand touching with the babies for their growing. In short, or in precise, my suggestion to everybody, and even in this digital environment, the investment of parent on child, especially the time, their energy, and say to say money, plays very significant role, and it has to be balanced. And as per my study, at least parents should use 3 hours for the children. Either they're working, they must invest 3 hours for grooming of the child at home, and they should practice good etiquettes at home also, right from housekeeping, right from other soft skills, whatnot. So these are my recommendation to the parents, especially in the digital environment. We try to use all the gadgets very properly so that child can learn after observations and he can copy the same. With this field, I thanks everybody. If any questions are there, I welcome that. Thank you very much.
So nice of you, Dr. M.A. Lahari sir.
Yes,
Quite
welcome,
nicely, you just open up a new vista of the lacuna, or else you can say the bottlenecks of digitization of every process of learning and teaching.
Yes.
So I ask the participants if they can ask any questions. Yes, anybody?
அந்தந்த டைமுக்கு சாப்பிடணும்.
Yes, anybody is having any question?
ಕಾಲೇಜಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಬಂದಂಗೆ ತಕ್ಷಣ.
Okay, Professor. We will thank you very much for your presentation. We will move to the next presenter, Dr. Ananya Barua. Dr. Ananya. Yes. Dr. Ananya?
Yes, I hope I'm audible enough.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, very good afternoon, and thanks to Mr. Denge and to all the organizers for giving me this opportunity. And I am Dr. Ananya Barua from Hindu College, Delhi University. I shall not really be taking much time because I understand that, you know, there's a dearth of time and most of the participants have already spoken. So let me just come quickly to the gist of my article, though it has been a long paper, but I'll just sum it up in 5 minutes. I had entitled the title of my paper as From the Spider's Web to the ICT Web Design, Impact on Tradition vis-a-vis E-Pedagogical Tools. And let me very quickly tell you that the reason or the history behind writing this paper is because I belong to the Department of Philosophy, and I tried to bring in Plato's Republic, where he uses episteme and theory, the techne, as the two main important tools. And then starting from the Stone Age, we saw that stone was the most important tool used by all the cavemen, and slowly and gradually it is the e-pedagogical tool which is extremely important today, and everything is under its web. Now, going ahead, since I belong from the state of Meghalaya, Shillong, Meghalaya, so I was trying to look forward for its impact on not only vernacular languages, as some of my esteemed paper presenters had already talked about vernacular mediums. And yes, SWAYAM approach, I'm aware of it, but SWAYAM only includes very limited vernacular languages, not all. For example, Assamese, Khasi, and other dialects are being left out. So I was only wondering what would be the effect on other indigenous dialects like Khasis, for instance. And if we know a little bit about the history of Meghalaya, it's a matrilineal state. So to understand, or rather to decode her, via technology, the cultural transition of the tribe of Meghalaya, will we be doing justice there? Because Khasi, the dialect, ought to be known, ought to be engineered. And my humble suggestion or my humble admission is this: that doesn't matter how much of tech savvy or how much of technologically oriented we make these dialects, but their roughness or their rawness or their very crudeness ought to be retained, because the very meaning of indigenous would be self-defeating if we make them all tech savvy or if we make them all high tech. So this is just a very quick summation of my thoughts, which I have presented in front of the August gathering. Thank you so much.
Okay, so nice of you, Dr. Ananya. Quite nicely you have presented your views in a very just manner, in a more composure way also. And as we were already discussed in the previous presentation that, yes, MHRD is trying really hard to make use all the knowledge we have in all the vernacular languages. Hopefully, in continuation with that, we reach all the vernacular languages as much as we can. Okay, thank you. So nice of you.
Thank you.
And the next participant is Vishaka Sen.
Sir, good afternoon.
Vishaka, hi, yeah.
Hello, all the participants. I am Vishaka Sen from Andipti University, Lucknow, and I teach communication skills and pre-placement training. I give it to the students of management, biotechnology, and engineering students, pharmacy students. So basically, this seminar has been a really one-time experience for me to explore something beyond my core area, that is literature, English literature. And the title of my paper is Virtual Educational Technology Revolution, a discourse in millennial English teaching. So basically, I would just like to share three main tenets of my paper. The first tenet is that the methodology that I used for my paper is technology enhanced teaching and also technology enhanced formative assessment. So now when we are talking something beyond, to look beyond the assessment, to look beyond teaching, what can a teacher accommodate? A millennial teacher who is now suddenly experiencing and is facing a challenge to incorporate online classes, to incorporate an online course material, to also add an online assessment pedagogy. So at every level of pedagogy, andragogy, and heutology, when Mr. Veera talks about mentoring and Dr. Lahori also expressed the concern of parents. So these three triangles of parents, learner, and teacher, what are the tools we should focus on in 21st century that are available? So briefly, I would say that first, the teacher should know what are the teaching and learning technologies that are available. So we know there is tablet computing, mobile learning, there is cloud computing, there are MOOCs, there are open educational resources, as mentioned here itself in SWAYAM NPTEL, in eVidwan, and all the efforts of MHRD that are visible. Then there is gamification, wearable technology, there is learning analytics, there is deep learning, a lot of computer and technology based facilities that are coming up also for teachers and learners to adapt. So next up is what should be the procedure to approach your course, or how should the student be taught? So then for that, I have created a table which comes under virtual classroom management system. Now, when the in 60s, when it all began, it was LMS, so Learning Management System, in 1924, I guess, where a management system was created as an exclusive technology, which was again not adopted, at least by India. And then we also had these course management system, that is use of tutors to take responses of all the students quickly. Again, that has not been adopted by Indian teachers as of now. Now, there are few universities that are adopting LMS. Now, my effort is to bring about a discussion of virtual course management system. Now, what all learning can be included in it? So as we all know that now, under blended learning, which is visible through flipped classrooms, the concept of flipped classrooms, where you can interact with your students even inside and outside classroom. You can provide them materials beforehand. You can assess them after the class. and each student can actually view their score and measure their progress in kind of a leaderboard, in kind of a personal progress that can be visualized. So in blended learning, we have active learning, we have experiential learning coming up, we have situated learning, we have social learning. Now, what are the types of virtual engagement or technologies that can be used? So for active learning, we have, again, Google Classroom, MS Teams. We have all the online course materials that can be actually uploaded. Files can be shared on and off mode. Then in experiential learning, we have infographics, game-based learning quizzes. Now, what are the apps that we can use? What are the technologies that we can use? We have SlideShare, we have Prezi that exclusively work on PowerPoint. Then we have Kahoot, Socrative, TED, FunBrain, all these apps that any subject students, regardless of their course, can adapt, can ask the students to build their material on. Then we have situated learning. Now for situated learning, which is again concept based, we can use polls, we can use opinions, and it can be done by technology like Slido and Mentimeter, where again you have a choice to choose what kind of poll you want. Do you want it as a true and false? Do you want that technique, that pedagogy as a multiple choice answer? Then when we come to social learning, now as I would like to extend what Dr. Lahori had mentioned, the concern of parents, and I would also briefly mention sustainable development in it, because in social learning, of course, what is the government doing? What are NGOs doing? What are the policies? Aligning that with our teaching material, with our course, we can have interviews with industry experts, we can have interviews with the subject experts, we can do a videography, we can, again, just like the Zoom meeting, you can have a Zoom meeting with your students and you can invite some specialists in that subject area so that they can motivate and discuss the main points. And the apps which you can use, again, we all know it, we have Zoom, we have Google Meet, we have GoToMeeting, we have WebEx, we have Flipgard and PlayPosit. Now, Flipgard and PlayPosit are quite quick, where the students can actually record their video response. So it is both audio visual, and it can be in a form of a project, as a team project. Now, when we specifically talk about English, role of English teaching, we have a double-edged responsibility, because we are not only introducing, of course, the English second language to students, but again, the person has to think in that language, the person has to understand subjects in that language, and then the person has to communicate through that language. And now the communication is social media. So again, the concern of how much a student is expressing online and how he's expressing. So the role of ethics comes in. And now we all know that we have quality assurance committee in all colleges and universities. I think now is the time that there should be a committee of digital quality assurance. Whatever material is being provided, whatever is being recorded in the class, what is the response of students? What are the ethics? What are the few guidelines and decorum that students must maintain during their postings and during their projects? So now what is the element that can be included? We will be confused. You have assessment also, you have to prepare a course as well, you have to choose the apps as well. So first we should have a toolkit. Each teacher should build their own toolkit. In that, they should include first cloud-based word processors like Google Drive. That is the easiest and the most accessible, free to use. They provide you 15 GB of data, so you can save your course material, your assessment, your questions in it, everything, every material, module wise, you can arrange it. Then we all must have Dropbox for data and records. So we should maintain the records. Apart from that, we should have a Flipboard, a Google Reader, where we can include the text which can be read. We can include the text which
sorry
can
for
be read
interruption,
by
Vishaka.
Yes, sir.
Please conclude, please.
Yes, sir. So we have gamification and opinion. So I would like to conclude that, there are many apps that may confuse teachers. How they can add it in their pedagogy or in their andragogy is a management that every teacher must implement in their curriculum. They should choose each app wisely, and also for sustainable development, every institution must ensure what are the number of hours that each learner is devoting in classroom teaching. Prolonged usage of computer and mobile is also uh, both unhealthy for teachers and students. So new guidelines should come up under digital quality assurance, and this is my final submission. Through this only we can actually implement it in a better way. Of course we are doing it in a rush now. It's a challenge and we all are taking up, and I congratulate all the teachers for it. But now is the time that we should manage it and think about organizing all these techniques as well through virtual classroom management system. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Vishaka. You have covered almost all the kinds of experiences which can be used in the teaching learning processes through the digital form, or else you can say through the e-pedagogy. So thank you very much for your
Thank you, sir.
nice presentation. Next presenter is Dr. Supreet Kaur.
Yes, sir. I'm Meghna Mahendru, co-presenter of the paper with Dr. Supreet Kaur.
Yes, madam.
Oh,
Please carry on.
First of all, yes, I'm Meghna Mahendru, Assistant Professor, Chandigarh University, Mohali, and I'm presenting a joint paper with Dr. Supreet Kaur, Associate Professor, Punjab University, Chandigarh. First of all, I would like to congratulate and thank Tamil Nadu Teachers Educators University for wonderful initiative. Let me brief myself. The title of my paper, the title of my paper is. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah.
The title of my paper is Empowering Students Through Digital Education. The 21st century has been rightly termed as the digital era. Today, children are growing up in a very different world than that of their parents. Cell phones, internet, computers, YouTube, Netflix, and Facebook are embedded in their daily lives. Digital education is replacing traditional educational methods more and more each day. There are multiple benefits of digital education in transforming a student's life, like developing motor skills, enhancing decision making power, visual learning, cultural awareness, improve academic performance, inventiveness, etc. Students are able to use the internet to research and find text resources, videos, podcasts, and presentations related to anything they would like to learn about. Digital education has certainly ignited the teaching sector, which strengthens students' learning experiences. The inclusion of digital learning in the classroom can vary from simply using tablets instead of paper to using elaborate software programs. This could entail using sites, services, programs, and equipment as opposed to the simple pen. There are irrespective of how much technology is integrated into classroom, digital education, digital and learning has come to play a crucial role in our education system. It empowers students by getting them to be more interested in learning and expanding their horizons. In this paper, it is discussed how digital learning is a step towards empowering students and what are the various tools and platforms for the digital education. Now, first, let me discuss what is digital education. Digital education can be defined as a web-based learning which effectively makes use of the information technology to impart knowledge to the students. In fact, this has been introduced only a few years ago and has got a tremendous response from all over the world. In other words, it is also known as smart teaching technique, and as such, most of the schools and educational organizations have gladly adopted this method, thereby bringing a colossal change in our education system. The students are taught with the help of computers, LCD screens, projectors, etc., which is beyond the conventional methods of teaching. It facilitates the learning process anywhere and anytime. Digital education provides an effective way to cut costs, maximize resources, and heighten both reach and impact for students alike. Some of the vital factors and benefits which guided the digital education are as follows. Digital education provides freedom to choose the pace. There is no restriction of time in digital education. In digital education, one can learn at one's own pace. Digitalized content is provided in digital education. Online tutors and instructors are always available in digital education. Digital education has made research work also simpler. It is also a boon for parents. Digital education makes the preparation of exams easy. There is no burden of paper in digital education. It also offers a strong platform for better communication. It also makes students smarter. It makes students self-motivated and more accountable. It also involves educators in a deeper extent. Last but not least, increasing students' employability with digital learning of tools and technology. Classroom teaching has become more and more interactive nowadays. Now, I would like to discuss some excellent digital initiatives launched by Ministry of HRD for school students and even those taking UG and PG level education. Shagun, first one is Shagun Online Junction. Shagun is an online junction under which Department of School Education in the Government of India and all states and union territories have launched several e-learning platforms to facilitate both teachers and students, where they can interact through digital medium. There are three e-learning platforms under the purview of Shagun, that is National Repository of Open Educational Resources, then Diksha, then e-Pathshala. Besides these, Swayam Portal and Swayam Prabha, National Academic Depository, National Digital Library, Virtual Labs, MOOCs are some others. Now, tools for digital education can be used for many different purposes with the common advantage of being fun, entertainment, and helpful while engaging students into class. Following are some most popular digital learning tools, that is the Google Classroom, Discussion Forum, Twitter, Coco, Scratch, Moodle, Zoom Meet, WebEx. With the development of internet, mobile phones, mobile apps, tablets, laptops, and other modern devices, things are being more and more digitalized in today's world. E-learning is the best thing, and below are some online websites which are easily available for a child. These are the just few, that is the Graduate Guru, Khan Academy, Tata Interactive Systems, Coursera, W3 Schools. So to conclude my paper, I would like to say digital education has warmly and graciously welcomed by the world. Although it has been identified as one of the most popular paradigms, but still a lot needs to be done to make more and more people aware of it. For that, computer training should be provided as a compulsory part of the curriculum. The content and quality of the digital learning course should be relevant and very well meaningful. It must be designed keeping in view the learning ability of the learner and his age also. New diverse choices should be introduced to make it more interesting and interactive. In this way, through digital education, teaching community as well as the learners can make comprehensive advantage for the technology and can make their professional more interesting, thereby breaking the shackles of conventional teaching methods and bring an enormous change in the society by empowering themselves. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Meghna ji, for your detailed presentation regarding the digital learning and e-learning platforms which have been created by MHRD and different agencies in this country. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And the next presenter is Dr. Malini L. 8.5 minutes left in this session. So I request Dr. Malini to present her views on her paper. within that 6 to 7 minutes. Dr. Malini?
Can you audio?
Yeah.
Just a minute.
Yes.
Audible?
Yes.
Can you hear my voice?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Malini L. I'm from Asan. I'm a teacher educator at Asanamba College of Education. Now I want to give an idea about that. My paper is about the community of inquiry model in technology-enabled learning. According to this Lightman, C.S. Peirce is a profounder of that community inquiry model. Here it is later on it's broadened by the John Dewey. Here in the classroom situation, the learning experience is very important. Through that, here the community of inquiry, which makes it reflects in a new teaching activities for the learning. Is that means here setting a new ways of thinking about teaching and learning. It provides an opportunity to enable learning, but brings with the expectation for new role for even for the teacher as well as the learner. Why it is important here, the COI is because of the teacher should possess two skills, basically basic technology skills and comfort with the techno tools. And the another thing is pedagogical practice aligned with the meaningful learner center. Here already in the classroom situation, we can have the incorporation of this community of inquiry with the face-to-face, blended learning, online learning. That means here the technology is used to improve directions and collaboration for meaningful learning experience. Here the COI is based on social learning theory model, identifying the actions. We can come across the three components. One is the social presence, another one is the cognitive presence, the teaching presence. Here the social presence is nothing but the engagement with the participants, and then cognitive presence in a engagement with the content, and then this teaching presence in the sense engagement with goal and the providing the instructions or the direction. Here in the cognitive presence, when we talk about this cognitive presence, we come across in the classroom situation triggering an event and then making an exploration, integration and resolution is possible. When we create a sense of puzzlement and then also communication of ideas, focusing and resolving the issues in the class situation. Through that, when we pass on to the social presence, when we provide an open communication, group cohesion, and then personal reflections. This when you create the risk-free expressions, collaborative group identification, self-projection. If you provide all this situation, learning experience or an educational experience, definitely it will be possible. When we come for this teaching experience, we come across the categories, or under that we have to design and organize with that facilitating of discourse in the classroom situation. Direct instruction should be given. When we are doing all these aspects, the setting the content and that sharing the things and exchanging of ideas with the learners and focus the information to provide the learners. So here the main thing is for me is incorporating of the technology. Suppose for example web 2.0, when we incorporate in the cognitive presence, triggering with the vast increase of content and context, like real-time data, video cam, using the podcasting. When we do the classroom situation, searching like Google Earth, databases, when we integrate in the sense of a cognitive presence, powerful and collaboratively modeling with the mapping, diagrams, and the using of certain tools, the resolution can be done in the classroom situation, especially in a cognitive aspect. That means that should be having the internet enabled. Definitely, this all community of an inquiry model can be incorporated with the help of technology enabled learning in the classroom situation. Definitely in the 21st century, the main skill we have to possess, especially in a teacher educator or the teacher, the technology enabled. So that's why my view about this, my paper, I want to conclude that definitely all these presence, all these elements are very much needed in the classroom situation. While using the technology, you can add all these aspects. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Dr. Malini, for your brief presentation on Community of Inquiry Model
Okay.
by Randy and Garrison. And
Yeah.
2 more minutes left in this session, and just one presenter is left. We will have that presentation in the next session. If anybody wants to ask any questions related to the Community of Inquiry Model, you can proceed.
Implemented by government of Karnataka.
Yes, any one question we can take.
Belgavi has basically taken the interest and given the training to the staff for the benefit of the students.
Is anyone ready to ask the question?
It is mandatory implementation which can be taken easily to the doorsteps by the student by the government of Karnataka. In this regard, Belgavi has trained the staff of teacher education institutions to perform and.
Okay, Dr. Malini, can you hear me? So we have 1 more minute. We have 1 more minute. Yes, can you hear me? Please unmute yourself. So we will come back again. Please log in again with the same ID and password. Then we'll start the proceedings.
A nice session, and I would like to present my thematic paper. So let me allow to present my share screen.
Okay.
Sir, let me host of this.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, sir. Have you all able to look
Yes.
my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. I would like to start my presentation. I, Gurpreet here. I would like to start my presentation with you all. This is a thematic paper which I'm going to present here. Psychopedagogy and e-learning paradigm. This is created by me and one of my other friend. Her name is Sadaf Ishtiyaq Khan. Now I would like to move towards our main section of this paper. Just someone is coming.
Yeah, you accept it, man. Accept it.
Yeah. Okay, now it's okay. Now we come up with the current global scenario. As all we are watching, all across the world, schools and universities have been just shut down by cause of COVID-19, which is affecting all of spheres of life, including educational system as well. As we all know, education is an integrated part of global education community and needs to respond according to the global trends of education. It is now time for redesigning the current delivery of pedagogical methods. Here are purpose of this paper presented, which are listed below as introduction of e-learning, which is a paradigm towards teaching and learning, what is psychopedagogy, and how this came into the light, and the meaning what the term convey, psychopedagogy. The another aim of this paper is to highlighting mental health issues of learners in the learning paradigm, and the last but not the least important purpose, outlining the professional competencies of the teacher, what a teacher required now this time in a global scenario. Just we come on our main tenet of this paper, which is presenting, introducing e-learning, what it is. E-learning has evolved globally in the recent COVID-19 pandemic. Therefore, a sudden shift of classrooms are happening. As we all are watching, today learning platforms are shifting from traditional to modern classroom, which is a e or virtual classrooms, as we all are also facing. That's why we are joining this e-webinar seminar, you all watching. And the instructor role now this time has been modified, sage on the stage to the guide on the side, as a means as a facilitator, not as a total mentor or supervisor. The next is this requires a unsurprising transformation in the didactic process as well, which catalyzing the shift of teachers' professional competencies. Like which kind of competencies is required this e-learning paradigms. Now we move towards this next slide. Sorry, it's to ahead, which yeah, this e-letter in e-learning just stand on the words electronic. As we all know, the core transition of e-learning is the internet and undertaken remotely through digital platforms. Like number of virtual platforms are there or softwares are which we are using, like Zoom, TeamViewer, number of meeting and holding sessions for number of softwares are there, which consists formal, informal content and uses a range of multimedia technology in which we can use audio and video and number of interaction platforms where a learner can easily learn something through a interaction basis. Therefore, it has become a powerful attraction for teachers and learners. Now, if we all know, if something is boon for us, but that may have some challenges or pros also. This time, all are focusing the platforms which are providing e-forms to everyone, how we can connect and continue the situation and how we can face this. But no one is able to understand this may have some mental health challenges also for learners, like behavioral problems, emotional, attentional, and other factors which may affect students' learning. This is also required. And in the last all of the presentation, as we have watched presenters presented like number of e-platforms, how we may use that. But in using all the softwares or programs, what kind of student problems face, what kind of, if he or she is not able to understand, then which kind of psychological problems raised in their mind, like stress, angerness, frustration, confusion, and lack of interest may also be raised. That's what we here presented some kind of mental health challenges of learners on the basis of research cited. Despite its undisputable importance and success, e-learning is not far from an unproblematic issue. Prior researches has indicated that completion rates on e-learning platforms are as low as 7 to 11%. Accounted reasons for this occurrence may be low motivation, low perceived value among the learners, and a study cited here by Hoffman and Nowak 1998, which presented that an online environment has limited communication space. So far, it is difficult for teachers to get a full scenario of student situation. And the other empirical researches suggest that emotions have a crucial primitive role in e-learning and shown that this system raises a sort of frustration, confusion, reduces the interest of learners in the learning process. And I would further continue some more mental health problems like success in using diverse technical devices may raise pride, failure, frustration in students. Sometimes the learner feels isolated and independent during the transmission of content. And the other side, what may be the remaining factors which boost learning or learning process of the student: attention, motivation, interests of the learner, as can be identifying factors of accelerated learning on e-learning platforms. Now we come on the most dedicated part of this paper, and which is mainly concerned with psychopedagogy. But here, before discussing what is psychopedagogy, we should know the origin of this term, how this came into the light. The term psychopedagogy has come up in the light of educational researches with a criticism. As we all know, if something is new coming from past, then that should be really some lack points also. That's why we talk about something new. The term psychopedagogy has having from European practice and is focused on effective conjoint of teaching and learning practices. Its theoretical practice principles are taken from included a series of pedagogical approaches that attracted by a range of psychological theories, means focusing on psychology of the learner. That's why we are talking theories and principles of psychology, what the learner's situation at the time of learning. We have to consider on that. That's why solely concerned with the understanding that how learning occurs rather than what is to be learned. But most of the times teachers focused on what is to be learned. Nothing matter how learning will be occurred and what the learning situation and circumstances will be. Now we come on the next part of this. Researches within psychopedagogical are mostly emphasized some psychological factors like learning and thinking style, learning strategies, approaches and preferences, multiple intelligence, metacognition, brain functioning, emotional intelligence. These are psychological factors which mainly concerned with students' personal characteristics, individualized characteristics. And we further know how psychopedagogy is as a discipline. So it is a professional teacher training or degree program as well, which specialized focusing is evaluation, diagnosis, therapy, rehabilitation, and supervising the growth and development of special needs children, because this course was constituted for fulfilling individual with special needs, not for normal children. But here in e-learning paradigm where individual characteristics are also concerning factor which have to focus by teacher as a their professional competency by which they can support fully, because the teacher is not able to fully gauge students behavior in e-paradigm situations where students are physically not present, only virtual form. So this much thorough study of emotion, behaviors and situations we cannot feel. And one more practical issue which I want to discuss here with you all, and you all maybe know, as a proposal, it's not a configuration that will be happen, but maybe like UGC has announced 6 month promotion, 6 month more submission dates to all of the researchers and educational higher education institutes, promotion of 6 months more. So what can be the situation of the learner in this scenario? This may get frustration, stress if a student is at the corner of their research work, at the corner of some situation where he is becoming ready for new challenging world of becoming a good jobful person. Now we come on the professional yeah, now we come on the professional competencies of teacher in this era, what the teacher requires. Yes, sir.
Please conclude.
Yeah, continue or conclude?
Conclude it.
Sorry, concluded. So here I would like to share some professional competencies which are required for teacher, like scientific, psychopedagogical competency and methodological competency. Here most of the times teacher like to adopt scientific or methodical competencies where teachers have theoretical knowledge and plan of all the elements, but psychopedagogical knowledge they may lack, where student need and personal characteristics have to be focused by the teacher on the time of teaching process, like students special requirement, cognitive style, personality of the students, self education, and how teacher can assist the student in organizing and planning of the study, building a joint relationship. These are some kind of personal characteristics which focus on developing interhuman relationship between teacher and students. Now I would like to move towards the conclusion or summing up my paper presentation, and some recommendations are there. After analyzing current global challenges of education, discussed mental health issues of the learner, it has become obvious need of re-engaging inductive programs and some kind of refreshal program on webinar basis maybe it conduct, where teachers should learn, so teach specific psychological practical approaches, not a theoretical as all the teachers have read at the time of their professional preparation, coming on teaching profession. Now for that they can develop new skills, methods, strategies of teaching and learning. And one more recommendation that the teachers who are working with e-learners should apply psychopedagogical competencies as well, apart from scientific and methodological competencies, for a sound, individualized, satisfactory learning, where teacher can give situation where teacher can integrate students on this scenario. So thank you for listening me with key patience. Now, sir, you may continue your further session.
Gurupreet, make me as a host.
Yeah, sure.
हेलो तुमने ये भेज दी? अच्छा, ये कहीं लिखा तो नहीं था? पूछोगी क्या फोन करके? अभी किसको पूछे?
Okay, anybody is having any questions related to Gurupreet?
अच्छा हाँ, इसमें ये
पेपर
कुछ लोग जो एक साथ नहीं प्रेजेंट किए थे तो पर ऑथर दिया होगा, क्योंकि यार अगर ऐसा होता तो मेंशन।
Please mute yourself if you are not using. Yes. Is any one of you can ask the questions if you have, or if you want to ask? Otherwise, I will try to conclude it. Yes. Yes, Dr. Iyappan.
Designation.
Hello. There is a network problem, it seems. We are not able to hear you properly.
Can I ask?
Yes, Dr. Ananya.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
This
yes.
is a question to Ms. Gurpreet. Ms. Gurpreet Kaur, I just wanted to know one thing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes, I just wanted to, ask one thing. You had said about the personality of, the learners in the blended teaching methodology. By personality, what did you precisely mean? I understand that your paper was solely on the psychological part, but was it the physiological, the moral, the spiritual, or by the personality of the learner? Was it only the psychological personality you had meant? Thank you so much.
Yeah. Hello.
Can you answer? Can you give your responses?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I was fully dedicated on the individual personality, in which not only a physiological characteristics, in which students are their emotions, cognitive style, thinking style, and situations, how he deals, accommodate with the situation. We should understand all the things and which kind of psychological factors are affecting the individual now this COVID situation. That's why I was focused on individual personalities also. Hopefully I may give answer to ma'am.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you so
Yeah,
much,
yeah,
Gurpreet.
okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Few people are joining
Most
now.
welcome, ma'am.
Okay, hopefully all of you have presented your views, and the needed questions are also being asked, it seems. And I request all the participants to give me few minutes so that I can conclude all the presentations in my brief words, as well as I can add a few of the important elements. I think those will be very useful for all of us in thinking in a more detailed manner regarding how best this e-pedagogy can be understood easily, and how best we can make use all these pedagogical approaches, strategies in a more appropriate manner. So I would like to begin my views presentation from the first participant, that is Jayashri Ben, who has touched upon the different aspects of the basis of e-pedagogy. And after that, Dr. Parashurama has presented his views on the findings of experiment he has done. And he has developed a module on the e-pedagogy, and how best this COVID situation can be overcome very easily by utilizing the different initiatives provided by the government of India, that he has highlighted in detail. And even he has narrated the different challenges what teachers are facing, as well as the students in the learning process, and how best this blended model can be used in a very effective manner for the teaching learning process. And in continuation, the next presenter, Dr. Ketan Veera, has a very uniquely presented his theme on e-mentoring. So he has described the different mentoring styles, or he consider as the other mentoring styles with the e-mentoring, like skill building and group mentoring, peer-to-peer mentoring, and how best these mentoring can be done very effectively and can be used for the students nurturing the different talents and competencies. For that, he has given very valid recommendations for the entire education system, as well as particularly for the teachers, for the usage of those important e-mentoring varieties, or else we can say the styles. And the next presenter, Dr. M.A. Lahori, who is from AIMS, a very unique and very different presenter in our group, especially because he has highlighted and touched upon a very important area which most of the education is forgotten. because we only concentrate on the curriculum, the teaching methods, and what best we can do in the classrooms. But he has narrated the whole scenario of how best the child rearing should take place and in the digital environment, because we are all moving into the digital world, and how best this digital world can create problems for the children, and how to engage the different approaches so that we can overcome the bottlenecks which we have, maybe in terms of understanding, maybe in terms of having the awareness regarding the child rearing, and what is expected from children in 3 different groups. It may be from 0 to 7 engagement stage, 8 to 14 exposure stage, and 15 to 21 exploration stage. So quite beautifully he has narrated, and even suggestions were also provided by him. And the next presenter was Dr. Ananya, who has quite nicely narrated right from taking the example of Plato from the Republic, how dialects can be make use, and how dialects can be understood in the present scenario by the usage of the technological innovations what we have, and the tech savvy teachers what we are becoming nowadays, how to handle this dialectual environment or a paradigm in understanding and handling those paradigms in the teaching learning process. And the next presenter was Vishakha Sen, who has quite elaborately described the virtual technology education system and what best the teachers have to do in the millennium era of technology, and how best the tools must be used, like analytics, deep learning, virtual classroom systems. It may be in terms of experiential learning patterns or situated learning, as well as the social learning. And she rightly suggested that each teacher must have a toolkit for the teaching process. And in continuation with that, Ms. Meghna Mehandru, who has presented her paper on digital learning education. And quite comprehensively, she has narrated how best the MHRD and the government of India has created e-learning platforms for all the stakeholders of education system, not just for teachers, it is also for students, it is also for administrators as well as the parents. And what kind of advantages we can make use through those platforms have been quite nicely described and explained. And next, Dr. Malini L was very keen in presenting her community of inquiry model prepared by Dr. Randy Garrison. And she told that the base of learning process must be the community of inquiry. And she narrated the 3 important presences which are required for a teacher to understand and implement in the teaching process. And those 3 presences are social presence, teaching presence, and cognitive presence. And how these presences are interrelated, and how best a teacher can make use those presences in the teaching process so that we can extract the best from the students in their learning aspect. And the last presenter, Ms. Gurupreet Kaur, who has presented her thematic paper on psychopedagogy and e-learning paradigms, which was also a very unique in terms of the area which we hardly touch. The reason why I'm telling this is we always consider most of the time the general students or the normal students in the classroom. But hardly we touch the special children who may be there in the classroom, or who may be there in outside the classroom. So how best these e-pedagogies or e-learning platforms will be helpful for reaching those special children have been highlighted. And she has also highlighted how best this diagnosis, therapy, and rehabilitation approaches can be used best to reach those children. And they should be the part of teachers' professional development. And she also highlighted that 3 important competencies which are required to reach all kinds of children. The first one is scientific competency, second one is psychosocial, psychopedagogic competency, and third one is methodical competencies. So these are the presenters. They have presented quite beautifully, as I say, in highlighting the different issues of education, different issues of teaching, different issues of learning in a very detailed and very unique manner. So I congratulate them for giving their wonderful presentations. And next, it's my responsibility to thank the organizers for organizing such a wonderful program, which really provided us an opportunity to share our views from north, east, west, and south of this country in a platform which is ideally meant to discuss, to explore something, and to disseminate something. In that sense, I'm really grateful to Dr. Naga Subramaniam, the organizer of this program, as well as Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Panchanatham sir. And to conclude my views on this presentation, I have few points which I have brought to you to share with you, and hopefully these points will be helpful for all of us to think how best this e-pedagogy can be understood. We all know that e-pedagogy is nothing but it's a learning and educational theory plus practice. What learning is all about and what educational theories are all about, we have to understand prior understanding the e-pedagogy, as well as how best these theories and learning patterns can be utilized, can be practiced, is important for a teacher before understanding the e-pedagogy. And next one is, e-pedagogy always provides an opportunity for socialization. If we expect socialization in the teaching learning process or in the education process, yes, the best way to do it is through electronic mode or e-learning. E-pedagogy will help us. And broadly, e-pedagogy can comprise a lot of aspects. It comprises the theoretical foundations, pedagogic systems, personal and professional development of teachers, principles of teaching and learning, instructional approaches and methods, technologies, knowledge construction, course design, and process planning. So these are the different aspects which includes in e-pedagogy. And when we talk about e-pedagogy, it comprises three important types of learnings. What are those? The first one is individual learning. If you want to provide opportunities for students for individual learning, yes, e-pedagogy is boon for us. The next one is facilitated learning. Individual learning is one aspect, facilitated learning is other aspect, and third important aspect is collaborative learning. So all the three types of learning patterns can be imbibed very easily in e-pedagogy. So hence, if you are expecting any teaching learning process through e-pedagogy, definitely you are expecting these three kinds of learning patterns. And nowadays we are talking more about the e-pedagogies. The reason why is the teacher's reachability is enhancing, is increasing every time when you're using these pedagogies. The reason why is, for example, think that a teacher is teaching in the classroom, it is mere presentation. It is a first level of reachability. The second level of reachability is student. Teacher is first level, student is second level. If you are reaching student, it is nothing but practice. Teaching to practice is the second level. Third level is, it is group. Teacher, student, group. Group is a third level. If you're reaching that group, that is nothing but you're creating communication patterns for the participants. And the fourth level is real world. Real world is nothing but interaction. Whenever you teach, whenever you reach your student, try to interact something, make opportunities for the interaction. And the last level is community. Community is nothing but collaboration. That's what we are doing. So everyone is collaboratively presenting our views, sharing our views, so that mutually benefited each other. Your views may be useful for me, my views may be useful for you, or it may create some of the ideas in you so that you can come out with a lot of changes in your teaching learning process. And another important model I would like to highlight, that is Gilly-Sampson model. It is nothing but, he says, if learner wants to achieve or learn to a highest level, what should be the criteria? The Gillison says there are 5 important stages. The first stage is access and motivation. Provide opportunities for the learners to access the information first. That information is itself motivation for them. So accessing and motivation is the first stage. Second stage, online socialization. Always provide the opportunities for the learners to socialize, to share something with the group. So that is online socialization is the second stage. Third stage is, if you provide opportunity for online socialization, it helps in information exchange. So naturally the exchange of idea takes place. That is what the third stage is. And fourth stage is knowledge construction. When learner starts information exchanging, they construct their own knowledge. And the last one is development. So they develop the overall idea of, overall concept of that particular content. And the last important thing I would like to highlight is the community of inquiry model mentioned by Dr. Malini, because we teachers always try to learn the softwares, learn the hardwares, learn the new approaches which come across, which we read, which we study. But the very important thing for teachers in this generation, it is not just the learning hardwares. It is not just the learning softwares. We have to understand very clearly how best the learning theories have been evolved, how best the learning theories have been incorporated in those softwares is important. If somebody is asking us if Zoom is very useful in the teaching learning process, how best it is useful? What learning theories can be adapted in the Zoom software? How best the experiences can be given through Zoom software? If a teacher understands that, definitely he gains the momentum of teaching. So nowadays, lot of webinars are going on, lot of workshops are going on for for giving the first-hand experiences for learning the different softwares. It is fine thing, no doubt about that. But unless we understand the theoretical basis, if you understand, or if you fail in understanding, definitely whatever approaches we are using, whatever software we are using may not be so useful, because the way we understand the different learning approaches, learning theories, it really contributes significantly for the usage, for the reason we use. So that's what the real intention of learning and teaching is all about. So that's why we have to understand few of the learning theories like Vygotsky theory, Bruner's theory, Gagney's learning theories, and Gagney's 9 events, how chain learning happens, how generalization takes place, and what Piaget has given the cognition theory, and how best the information processing takes place among the students with the help of e-pedagogies. So these are the different aspects of theories. If you understand properly, definitely we will be very good in designing our teaching learning processes. So this is a kind concern teachers have to understand in this era. All these days, we thought that learning happens only in the classroom, or I can teach best only in the classroom. But nowadays, we have come out of the classrooms, and wherever we are, we have started teaching in such a great manner that we can help all the learners in a very effective way. So that's what the e-pedagogy has provided, a new dimension of reaching the unreached. That's what teaching is all about. This technology has provided ample opportunity to reach all your students in this era. And what I suggest you, or what I request you, is try to learn more and more softwares, try to learn more and more hardwares, no problem. But whenever you use softwares, try to give basis of learning theories, try to give basis of sociological theories, try to give basis of philosophical theories. Then third one, try to produce more and more content in online, so that not just your students where you are teaching in the schools and colleges, you should also reach to the entire world. That's what the intention of this e-pedagogy and the organizers' view also. So with this view, I hope you have all enjoyed this 3 important sessions, which comprise again a 1 session of presentation of 10 important presenters. And hopefully we meet again and again in future to see, to share, to collaborate and socialize ourselves in the teaching learning process. Thank you very much.
எந்த பர்சன் அந்த கிஃப்ட் பர்சன் கேட்டிச்சுல கிஃப்டா ஏதோ சொல்லிட்டு போனேன் நடந்துட்டே